that role, the tagger.
Yeah.
It's just everyone keeps talking about, even in the East Coast as
Yeah.
well. What makes you tick? Why do you like that role so much?
Yeah, well, I suppose it's one of these roles. It's a tough role. It's mentally really draining. We're a really good team and sort of take a team approach into it. So whoever I'm running with, so I get a lot of help from my teammates, and that makes it a lot easier. But yeah, mentally it's a pretty draining role because you're usually playing on the gun player week in, week out, and even if you're playing one of the lesser teams or whatever, they've still got a gun midfield you're going to go to, so there's no sort of mental respite, and that's probably why I was looking forward to the break so much, So I always joke that I'm going grey, which I am, but I'll blame the role.
Who do you reckon your toughest opponent has been to play on today?
Yeah, there's been a few over the journey. Like you're playing a guy like Adam Goods, and he's like he can take you forward, he can take you wherever, and he's sort of really good. Chris Judd, when he was up and like really firing back in the West Coast days and that sort of thing, was amazing. And then obviously there's the Gary Ablett. I've had some good tussles with him over the journey, and he goes all right.
Yeah, obviously, you had a bit of an issue with Dan Hanbury this year. Is he sort of moving up into that class from what you've seen?
Yeah, well, Dan was sort of I was obviously pretty disappointed with how that game went, but I was sort of set for somebody else and sort of got changed pretty close to the game, so I hadn't really done a lot of homework on him, but I have now. He goes all right. He's in great form, and he showed again on the weekend. We had 28 touches at half time, so he's going all right. It made me feel a little bit better.
When you say it's mentally draining, can you expand on that and just tell us what it takes to mentally to match up on these?
Yeah, I just there's a lot of homework goes into playing on them. I mean, they're good players for a reason. So do a lot of homework on them going into games, and you feel like you're just constantly just thinking about this one person all the way through the week, and then all of a sudden he's there in the weekend, and then there's a battle, and just by the end of the game, it just feels like there's sort of just that release of either relief or he got hold of me, So it does become pretty draining, but I enjoy it. I wouldn't change it for anything. So
is it tough as well? Like against Dangerfield a couple of weeks ago, when he gets a couple early on you, does that compound mentally how tough it is? Yeah,
I was saying to the boys, I had a headache after the game just because he gets a couple early, and for the rest of the game, it's like if you weren't fully just really like. I was almost scared, like it was just really draining game. And that was a bit different because he took me forward, and you've got to be ready for those sorts of things. So, there's obviously challenges that get thrown to you every week, but I enjoy it, and that's my role on the team, so I wouldn't change it. Yeah.
Ryan, before you were given that tagging role, how did you see yourself as you drafted? I mean, you've gone forward and kicked goals in a few games. Did you see yourself as a midfielder or a forward?
Yeah, obviously you don't get drafted as a tagger, so I was... my dad always laughs that I was the most outside, winger, run forward guy going around, and he finds it strange that I'm doing this defensive run with role now. But I sort of got drafted as a midfielder, sort of forward, and that's how I started in the team, playing at half forward. And I've always considered myself a midfielder, and this is a role that's been able to keep me in the team, and it's what I've learnt to enjoy.
Do you remember your thoughts initially when you were first given the role? Straight away, do you think this could be?
Yeah, well, I remember it was the first time I ever did it was against Nick Stevens against Carlton, and it's the first time I'd ever even contemplated doing anything like that. So it was something that was kind of new to me, and I managed to go all right, and it's caught on ever since. But before that point, nothing. I'd never even contemplated it before. Yeah.
When was that? Nick Stevens?
Now you're testing my memory. Probably 2005, maybe. 2005. So a fair while ago. Yeah.
Brisbane's midfield got a pretty good mix of sort of older, more talented guys like Simon Black, and then really emerging stars like Jack Redden.
Yeah.
Who do you think you'll have a look at this week?
Yeah, I was actually just trying to do that a little bit before. I played on Simon a few times back in the day, and he was one of my harder opponents. So I'm not entirely sure, mate. I'll have to wait and see later in the week.
Just on that, how many hours of vision would you watch on the gun player?
I try and go through maybe a couple of their games that they've maybe been held a little bit during the year, and then a couple where they've really gone well, and then maybe one in between. So I'll probably watch 3 or 4 or 5 games full of them, and yeah, just try and get a real good sort of picture of how to play on them. Yeah.